Because business
Absolutely.
is not easy. Business, you're going to be dealing with a roller coaster of emotions. And on top of your business, family stuff gets in the way, personal issues get in the way, relationship issues get in the way. But if you can conquer your mind on the inside and you have what I like to call a cookie jar, I got this from David Goggins' book, but you have a cookie jar of all of the things that you've accomplished in the past that
Mhm.
are hard, you can rely on those things to tell yourself, hey, whatever I'm going through right now, whether it's hard or not, I've done things that are even harder. And so I know that I'm capable of doing it.
Welcome back to Base Business. I'm your host, Parker McCumber, and I'm here with a special guest today, Joey, who is on a mission to help veterans master their financial situation. Is that right, Joey?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Give us a quick blurb, introduce yourself, and then tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So my name is Joey. I run a bunch of different YouTube channels as part of my full time job. And on my own personal YouTube channel, I help military members and veterans with money. I talk about money, I talk about finances. And my whole thing is I want to just help the whole military community save more money, make more money, and learn financial literacy because that's something that's not really taught in the military. And it's something that wasn't taught to me ever. And so I had to figure out everything on my own.
So, I actually came across you on Instagram initially because, I'm in obviously the military too. I'm in the finance world. We love business and entrepreneurship. And I came across some of your social media content. I'm like, man, this guy is doing some cool stuff. Let's reach out. Let's see if we can get him on the show. I especially admire the willingness to work with veterans. And the reason I think that that's important here, like you said, is that there's no financial literacy training. And what essentially happens, I mean, it happened to me for sure, is you get, the vast majority of military members fresh out of high school. I enlisted right after my senior year. We go to basic training, we get some money. You go to your first duty station, maybe a deployment in there. But what happens is you're still a 20, 21-year-old kid. And now you've got some money. And what do? You spend it on 21-year-old kid stuff, right? You go out partying, you get a car. Um, Dude, I had a private who legit got a truck at a 21% interest rate. Like all those horror stories that you hear about. And, it's kind of a shame, in my opinion, that you have so many service members that, one, don't understand best financial practices, but there's no one immediately available to them to help with that because we're all in the same boat. We all came right out of high school. We all joined the military like that. So tell me a little bit about how you got into that world.
I I come from a Vietnamese. So I'm Vietnamese, and my parents, they are from Vietnam, and so they came to the states because of war, basically because of the
Mhm.
Vietnam War. Like they had to flee their country as teenagers, and my mom worked every day of her life to basically pay for us to live in the states, and so I was never from like I saw all of my friends growing up or people around me growing up, and they had better financial situations, and so I knew that I needed to be the generation to help, uh, future family members succeed and not have to worry about finances like I did.
I like that you used the term the one. Are you familiar with Ed Milet's popularization of the one?
No, I know Ed Milet's the do one more, like the one more rep.
The power of one more. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
He
power of one
also
more.
teaches this concept of being the one. And in short, he talks about every family that ever came to the United States was poor at some point. You walk down, the beach, maybe at like Huntington Beach or something in California. You see all these nice beachside houses, and you're thinking about, man, it'd be so nice to live there. They're big, fancy, expensive homes. At some point, that family was broke until the one comes along. And in short, the one is the one person in that family or in that bloodline that changed the trajectory for everyone that came after. I'm the one in my family. And I admire you're the one in your family now. We're actively changing the trajectory of what comes after us. It's a little bit of a daunting task, too, though, because there's a lot of responsibility with being the one. You think about the financial burden of yourself, of the family that you're trying to, improve the situation for. You're thinking about the longevity, the investment, the return, all of that, right? As well as the positioning for future generations. It's kind of a daunting task, isn't it?
Very. Yeah. And I'm still super young too. I'm only 24 years old. And most of the time I feel like I'm behind because nowadays with social media,
Mm.
it's like you got 18-year-olds who are crushing it, making $1 million per year or whatever. Um, but obviously those are like the
Few and
one
far between.
percenters.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say 1%, probably like the thousandth of a percent. I mean,
Yeah.
that gets me too still. For example, recently, we went on vacation. We went to Italy with Ferrari Salt Lake City. They took us on a Ferrari tour. And I go there, my wife and I were the youngest people there. And so I kind of find myself in this position where I'm comparing myself to people that have done like multiple 8, 9, and even 10-figure exits in their businesses. And I'm like, man, I've done nothing. I've accomplished nothing. But then they put it in the frame of reference for me. Dude, you're 20 years younger than anybody else here. And you're here. You're in the room. So I would always try to recommend you keep that in mind. It's like, yeah, you're young. You're young, but you're on people's radar now. Like, we found you. Uh, you're doing big stuff. Keep doing big stuff and let it compound over time, right? The biggest difference between where you're at now and where you want to be is just the time variable, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's true. Thank you for that. Everybody who I talk to who is older and successful, they always tell me like, dude, you're only 24, chill.
Dude, yeah, when I was 24, I was in Korea and man, just patrolling the DMZ, making 30 grand a year as a, E4, E5. So
Yeah, that's
you're in a much better position already. Keep winning, dude. Keep winning.
yeah. I need to remind myself of that constantly.
So how did you get into YouTube specifically? I mean, like, what led you to thinking that was the vehicle that you were going to use to help veterans learn financial literacy?
Yeah, I always wanted to make videos. Ever since I was young, I would make skits with my friend who also does content now for a living. He has like millions of followers and he's like one of the biggest um, comedy creators
Mhm.
in terms of like short form content. And so when we were younger, we would just mess around and make, vines back in the day when Vine was still a
Yeah.
thing. And so I always had that, passion and I always had that creative kind of spark in me. I just didn't know that it could turn into an actual job, an actual career until 2019. Around that time is when
Mhm.
a lot of creators started to blow up. And then during COVID, even more creators came out uh, and built $1 million businesses off of that by
Yeah.
building a personal brand. And so it all just started to make sense that it's like, okay, this is something that I love to do as a kid. And it's something that I can use to help others and
Mhm.
provide a lot of value and help hopefully millions of military members out there and give back to the community that gave me a lot as a 17-year-old right out of high school.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything. And so, yeah. I don't know how long you want the story to be. It's
I
a
mean, share away. So I try to frame the show. I'm sure Trinity gave you a note before. Um, when I started in business, I put my head down and just did the work because that's what the army taught me to do, right?
Mhm,
Um, and I took a lot longer than I needed to learn some lessons because I wasn't actively looking for help or mentorship, right? So I put my head down, I did the work, I grinded, and I tunnel visioned on it when I could have asked somebody else for help. I could have learned from somebody else and their expertise, and that could have shortcut the time for me to find success. The show is largely framed around how do we help maybe a young entrepreneur, somebody who's interested in business, how do we help them shortcut the time requirement to succeed? How do we help them overcome the obstacles that they're probably facing? And you have a really interesting perspective that I'd like to dig in on. And it's twofold. One, the financial literacy side, I think is uber important. And most people don't learn it until they're already suffering through it, if that makes sense. And then the second part is YouTube. Now I'm very bullish on YouTube. I actually think that for a creator, if you're trying to make money and monetize, that is the most important platform to be consistent on and grow and build success with. So I want to kind of pick your brain on those two avenues. Like if you were to, I mean, find your ideal clients perhaps and teach them the most important fundamentals of financial literacy from your opinion, what would you teach them right off the bat?
something that I notice in a lot of military members that I've talked to over the years about finances is a lot of them just need to know the basics.
Hmm.
And the basics are an emergency savings account. So putting your money into a high yield savings account instead of a regular like Navy Federal
Yeah,
savings account, which is
0.004% interest.
exactly. And so that's something that is an immediate win that a lot of military families can take advantage of, both the military member or if you have a spouse
Hmm.
or anything like that, if you have friends or family, whatever savings that you have, you can immediately start earning hundreds of dollars per year for free just by putting it into a high yield savings account, into a better bank.
Sure.
And so that's like the first thing that I always like to talk about
Can I give an
because that's
example
the
real quick
easiest thing.
in my life? So I had,
Yeah.
right, traditional setup, checking account, money market savings account, so a little bit higher yield, right? That was like 3% maybe. And then, right, credit card, right? That was my initial setup. I got Robinhood Gold. I'm not sponsored by Robinhood, just telling you guys my example. Um, and they're offering, 5%. So just taking the money out of one savings account, moving it over there generated an extra 2,000 bucks a year, something like that.
Hmm.
And I'm like, 2,000 bucks a year for a lot of people starting out, that's you know, a couple weeks of work, a month maybe of extra, spending cash. It makes a difference for
Hmm.
sure, especially when you start. So, I mean, I love what you're saying. Look for a better return that you can get immediately.
Hmm. Yeah. And there's so many other things that you can go into from there. That's like the gateway
Oh yeah.
activity that you could do as a basic person who has never been taught anything about money is just putting your money into a high yield savings account. Um, I personally love like Ally. I use Ally. I use SoFi.
Hmm.
Chime has a really good APY percentage, and yeah, that's just super easy to do. And then from there, I would say most people can benefit from investing into the stock market with whatever savings that they have left, or maximizing their retirement accounts if
Hmm.
they are interested in like a Roth IRA. Um, which is basically like investing into index funds for the long term, except you don't pay any taxes when you take it out.
So
So,
I always try to prioritize. You get into my IRA first. It's first investment every year. Max that out. Something that my financial advisor recommended and is doing for me now is he's making sure that we do high dividend paying like
mm,
index funds
yeah,
in the Roth. So that because
yeah,
you can only put in, your 7,500, 7,000, whatever it is each year.
mhm,
Um, but those dividends pay back into it too, help it compound over time a little bit. Just kind of a
right,
cool strategy he turned me on to.
yeah. There are so many different strategies out there once you start doing research. But
Oh,
yeah, that's like another place to put your money after you
so
have a good savings account.
for somebody thinking of like perhaps a military veteran again, who's looking at starting to invest in the stock market, what advice would you give them? They're just starting out, right? They're in the military still, so they're not doing like a ton of market research or looking into that stuff. What advice would you give them starting? How do they keep it simple and probably a higher likelihood of success?
Yeah, simplest thing is just the S&P 500 with, uh so that's an index fund, which basically means that you're investing into an entire bucket of stocks instead of just one stock.
Hmm.
So instead of investing directly into Apple or Tesla or Facebook, you're investing into the top 500 companies in the US. That's what the S&P 500 is. And so you can do that with Robinhood, you can do that with, any brokerage, any stock investing platform out
Hmm.
there, and invest what you can afford to lose. Like, don't invest more than what's gonna like mess you up mentally at night,
Sure.
where you're like, oh snap, like if I lose all of this right now, I'm done for. I won't be
Well,
able to, you know?
yeah. Let me caveat or add a tag here too for people. When you invest in the broad market like this, whether it's an index fund, an ETF, something like that, there's built-in diversification, and that's important. I think on the same note, right? Don't invest more than what you can afford to lose. But when you do a broad strokes fund, your likelihood of a catastrophic loss is significantly reduced. It's not
Hmm.
like the insane volatility that you would get with an individual stock because it's the market as a whole, right? Just a
Yeah.
just a tag for the people that are listening to this and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose everything."
Yeah, no. I mean, if you look at the historical return on the S&P 500, I think over the last 70, 80 years since it was first
Mhm.
created, is it's returned 10% on average per year.
Yeah,
And sure, some years it goes down, but most years it's trending upward.
yeah,
So, like, obviously during like COVID, for example, it was a great time to invest because it was at a low. And if you look at from where COVID was to now, we're now at an all-time high.
mhm.
And then looking into the future, we're going to look at today as like, oh, that
That
wasn't the
was so
high, that was
low.
the low.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the
So,
term, "The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today"?
yeah.
It's the same
People say
thing
that
for
about real
investing.
estate too.
Yep, absolutely. Well, because I mean, ultimately, real estate, similar method to stock market investing, right? You're giving
Mhm.
your resources time to grow. That's what it really boils down to. So in real estate, I mean, you think about depending on the market you're in, obviously, it's not uncommon for a property to double in value over 15 to 20 years. Again, depending on the market that you're in, the location, growth around it, all that stuff. But if you think about it like that, okay, you buy a $500,000 house, 15 to 20 years later, that could be $1 million house. You're giving your money time to work essentially in your benefit. And it's the same thing in the stock market. You put in, your $50,000, maybe over the course of the next 10 years with an annual return, it's compounding over time. You've got $150,000. And that's not unheard of, but it,
Yeah.
it does require time.
Yeah, it requires patience and not being like scared when everybody is panicking
So
in
in
the economy.
let me ask, in your opinion, what's a good starting benchmark for people? So they get a high yield savings account. They're putting some money into that each month, or they're moving their existing savings account into it. That's already a win. Do you typically have a best practice you recommend when it comes to like percentage of funds invested versus saved?
I mean, there's like a basic budgeting rule called like the 50, 50, 30, 20.
Hmm.
Have you heard of that one?
I have, yes.
Yeah, so that one's super simple. It's just 50% of your expenses can go into necessities. So this would be your rent, your gas, your insurance, things that you need to have in order to live and do your job and things like that. And then the 30% can go into your wants. So like any entertain like if you want to go to the
Get your
movies or if you
Netflix
want to go out
subscription.
to eat. Exactly. And then the 20% can be put into your savings and investments in order to grow your money.
Hmm. And I mean, I've found that that's pretty much a good rule of thumb to follow. You live pretty comfortably with that as long as you're comfortable within your income level, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Cool.
you can get way more aggressive with it too. Like you can go like some people go 50 or like 40, 10, 40,
Hmm.
where they go super like heavy on investing. Um, and then there's the aspect of like investing in yourself too, where it's like, okay, you can make 10% per year average in the stock market. Or if you invest that in yourself or you invest that in a business or a side hustle, you can make way more than 10% after a while.
Yeah, after a while.
Yeah.
Again, it's that time matters, man. Okay, so
Yeah.
we touched on I guess first two foundational principles: high yield savings, investing. What would you say is the next most important block for somebody to understand?
The next block is exactly what I was just talking about is like starting to invest in yourself. I think that is going to be
Hmm.
the next area where a lot of people have fears, they have blockers, they have self limiting beliefs that stop them from pursuing their passion, their purpose, their ultimate dream in life that can happen. Like it's possible. There are so many stories out there of people who come from nothing and they make
Yeah.
it and they're living their dream, they have their dream job, they're helping millions of people in the world, they're giving value and they're getting so much fulfillment from it, and it's all possible,
Can we dive into
and
this
they
for a
all have
minute?
a common. Yeah, yeah.
I love what you're saying here. If I could go back in time, the biggest piece of advice I would give myself is to invest in myself earlier, faster, often more, right?
Mhm,
This is important, I think, for anyone that has a big financial goal or a dream that they are aspiring to achieve. Investing in yourself makes you a more valuable person. If you're a more valuable person, your capacity to earn is greater. Earning more
mhm.
allows you to invest more, allows you to spend, like everything about it just improves. So I'm a big believer that when you have extra money, maybe you fit this into your 50% or 30% in the budget. When you have extra money, you should be using that to make you a better version of yourself. And that comes in many different forms, right? That's formal education, that's experiences, that could be taking a course online, that could be, any number of things that makes you a more valuable version of you and a better version of yourself so that you can become more marketable, earn more, save more, give more, all that.
Yeah, I love that. Books is another thing that's very easy to do
Yeah.
because you don't even need to buy the books. You can go to a library and borrow the book, and you're basically getting access to somebody's life work, whether it's a successful business owner, a successful athlete,
Yeah.
somebody who's doing something that you would want to do. They have basically put their entire life's lessons and experience into a book. And so you can basically jump into their mind, jump into their life, and basically like you're having a lunch conversation with them where they're
Yeah.
spilling all their secrets. And that was like huge for me too when I first started,
Shameless
just
self
reading books.
promotion. How the hell are you doing this? By Captain Parker McCumber. Now out. It is parkermccumber.com/book.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll just plug myself real quick. this video was sponsored by me. I'm the only person sponsoring these podcasts. Yeah, cool. I actually
Love
really
it.
like that too, because if you're lower on monetary resources at the time, dude, you can still learn so much. Like I like the library idea. I'm a big believer that you can learn pretty much anything on YouTube these days. And then
Yeah.
between that, I mean, what's a library card cost, man? If you're a resident in a city, it's free typically. If you're out of city resident, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, something like that. So you get your library card, you get access to all of the books. The books give you knowledge. The knowledge makes you more valuable. You go out, you learn a skill, a trait, something. Go profit off of it, right? I'm a big believer in
Yeah.
that. And I love if you can get access to the internet, you can get access to YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can learn anything. Like,
Yeah.
actually, this is a mind blowing thing for me now because I couldn't have fathomed this as a kid, but it's commonplace now. People go learn how to do Photoshop on YouTube, graphic
Right.
design. Boom, they've got a career. People learn how to they go on YouTube, they learn how to do social media management, how to run different AIs, how to run like content calendars. All of a sudden, they've got careers. They've got careers just because they learned a
Hmm.
skill from watching videos and then applying it over and over and over again until they win.
Yeah. And they're making like way more than somebody who goes to like a prestigious college for like
Yeah,
4 years and they don't actually do anything. They just learn about stuff. And not to like, say anything bad about college is definitely necessary for some jobs. But I think if you have a big goal of becoming a millionaire, becoming a multimillionaire, becoming financially successful,
hmm,
it's very, very difficult to do that with a regular job unless you become like an executive in one of the big tech companies or something and you have a lot
yeah.
of stock options. That's definitely possible then.
So I've
But
got
you
this
have
friend.
to,
Oh, go ahead.
no, no.
So I've got this friend Braden. Shout out to Braden. Uh, he was going to school to be a pilot,
Mhm,
right? So he's going through flight school, all this stuff, and he started taking automotive photos on the side. It was like he was doing some car shoots and stuff like that to
mhm.
pay his way through school, essentially. Keep people pay him a couple $100 for a photo shoot type thing. And he grew the photo business, um, to doing shoots and then doing workshops, teaching other photographers. And then he starts doing social media management. And he realizes I can make way more money than I would ever have as even a possibility as a pilot just
Yeah,
doing this. So he learns a skill, develops it over time, and then even you think about a pilot as one of the most high paying jobs in the United States. I mean, you're up there with like surgeons and things like that,
mhm,
but that can be dwarfed through ownership and entrepreneurship and just the
yeah,
constant self investment.
yeah. I have a genius business idea for the audience. If they're
Let's
young
hear it.
and they are hustlers, they can make a killing with this during the summertime specifically. I just went to a couple of graduations at USC and UCLA for my cousin-in-laws. They were graduating, and I have a camera, and so they were like, "Hey, can you help us take graduation photos?" I spent 1 hour the night before watching a YouTube video on how to take photography, like portrait photography photos on the camera. I showed up, I took the pictures. I saw other people there taking pictures as well. And I realized that that's something that you can easily charge on
Oh, yeah.
graduation day. There's no need to like, all you need to do is just drive there to the college campus during graduation. You walk up to family members and you ask them, "Hey, do you guys want a picture? I'll take 20 solid pictures for you right now." And you just have to like sell me 20 bucks. And you bring like your SD card with you, a dongle, and you can like do it right from your phone. You just plug the SD card into your phone and you just airdrop it to the family. And if you do that for 5 families, which only takes, let's say each family takes you uh, 10 minutes, So in an hour, you do 6 families. For 20 bucks, that's 120 bucks
I would
per
even
hour.
take it a step further. If you decide you're going to do this ahead of time, you can probably start targeting like, because all the social media platforms, they let you do where your locations are and geography and stuff like that. I would start looking for people who are posting in those areas, talking about graduation, just sending them cold DMs ahead of time. Hey, we'll come out, do a graduation day shoot with you, with your family, $100.
Yeah. Yeah, if somebody is listening to this and they do that, they can make 40 to $50,000 in one summer in,
Yeah,
like,
just bouncing between graduations.
bouncing between college campuses,
High school
because a lot of these
campuses too.
students. Exactly. A lot of these students are planning it out because it's 4-year degree, whether it's their bachelor's or master's or whatever,
Hmm.
and they're planning it ahead of time. They're scheduling and they're finding photographers online to be like, "Hey, I don't want to take pictures on graduation day when I want to spend it with my family. I want to do it beforehand. So can I book with you?" And so
Yeah.
you can spend an entire summer making a lot of money with that.
Awesome. Awesome free value there. So we've kind of talked about the three foundational principles for the investing side, the financial literacy side. Let's dive into YouTube real quick while we still got you around. So I'm curious. You talked about doing vines beforehand. When did
Mhm.
you realize like YouTube is where I'm going all in on?
So I was very fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work with my mentor, and his name's Charlie Chang, and he's the one who taught me everything that I know about YouTube long form. And I mean, I was doing nothing related before. I was
Hmm.
working security. I was a waiter at Olive Garden, and I was in the Marine Corps Reserves at the same time. And he originally posted on his Instagram, "Hey, I'm looking for a scriptwriter." I applied to the job. I just sent like a quick email. "Hey, I'd like to apply." No response. A year later, he posts another job saying he's looking for a personal assistant. This time, I sent him a huge email basically telling him that I'll do anything. I'll scrub his toilets for him if he needs me to. No job is beneath me. I just want to put my foot in the door and help and give value, and I want to get into the industry. And so he could sense my hustle mentality, and from there I was working 60 to 80-hour weeks at 19 years old, 20 years old, and I was in the grind. That was when I learned a lot about
Hmm.
content creation and YouTube specifically. So a lot of blessings that I've gotten from Charlie. But I think if I wasn't ready, if I wasn't in the right mindset to send those emails, I think a lot of people will send that first email and they'll get rejected and they'll just quit. But I knew that I could get in. It was just a matter of time.
Something that I really liked was the humility that you approached that with. Right? I mean, you went all in on the email. I'll scrub your toilets like anything. Nothing's beneath me. That is the hardest thing to get people to do right out the gate. I mean, uh, like Gary Vaynerchuk popularized this thing a couple years ago, the go work for free, right? Like
Hmm.
just go and provide massive value, make yourself undeniable through the value you provide, and you'll never have to worry about job or money again, right?
Hmm.
I was doing that before I really knew what it was for myself, essentially, because I started my ecom business. I worked for free for 2 years before I took a paycheck, just investing everything back into the business. And then, over time compounds the investments. The business grew, and then it got to the point where it could financially support me and my family, and we could start hiring employees and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm noticing this recurring trend in people that I talk to, people that come on the show. You have to be willing to swallow your pride and just put in the work and recognize that there are things you will have to do to grow and learn and be in the positions that you want to be in that are going to be uncomfortable. They're going to make you dissatisfied for a temporary time, but it's only temporary, right?
Right. because you have so much to learn. It's like the white belt mentality. Every time that you
Yes.
get into a new space, you are a white belt, you are a private, you have no experience, you have nothing to offer
Yeah.
but your free time and your labor. So,
Well, it's the perfect opportunity to learn, but you have to swallow your pride and be willing to learn. And that's
yeah.
hard for people to do. I mean, especially people that go through a 4-year degree, right? Like I notice that they have the hardest time. They think they've earned something because of their degree. And again, it's not a knock on it. Like I'm doing my doctorate right now. Like I'm all about formal education. Um, but you have to check your ego when you step into a new arena or a new market or a new realm. And you have, I mean, there's necessarily a learning curve. And nobody wants to come out and pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started, right? You got to swallow the pride, do the dirty work, learn as you go, and increase in value over time.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Or like in the military, if they are, if they do a 8-year contract and they get out as like a staff sergeant or just a high rank and they come out and they all of a sudden have to start from zero in the
Yeah.
civilian world, that could be a huge
That's a tough
knock to
sell
the
for a lot of
ego.
them. A tough sell. I mean,
Mhm.
unless you get to a point where you have some like a retirement, right? You get your pension, you do 20 years or something like that. Then
Yeah.
it's a little bit more comfortable because you got your retirement. Um,
Yeah.
and typically, if you're around for that long, you've got a higher level of experience. You get a little bit of a different look, but that's a tough sell for people too. I mean, a lot of NCOs, E5 to E7 range. They're used to having a little bit of authority, rank, being the boss, and then you move to the civilian world and you've got to start over. That's
Yeah.
it's tough. I mean, the easiest thing, in my opinion, the way to overcome that is to just learn so much so fast. Like we said, investing in yourself. If you're going to go into a real estate related field, learn everything about real estate in your market. If you're going to go into social media management related field, you learn everything you can about platforms and algorithms and the content that they're promoting and trying to give preference to. If like, just got to learn. You have to commit to learning again,
Yeah.
just like you had
It's
to do in the
excellence.
military. Yeah, yeah, it's excellence.
Yeah.
So I said earlier, I'm bullish on YouTube right now. I think it's the best platform to be on long term if you're a creator looking to monetize. I think they've got
Yeah.
a good system for that. I think they're generally the most fair with creators when it comes to like monetization policy. So, if you were going to give some advice to somebody who is starting their YouTube journey, what would you tell them?
I would tell them what I would tell myself, which is you know that you want to do YouTube, but you're afraid. And so you are only going to regret the fact that you didn't start sooner, not any failures that you had along the way.
Best time to plant a tree? Start sooner or right now? Yeah, I like
A
that.
lot of people will just give up too. Like they'll just give up by like video 10 or video 20 because I think they're worried about the wrong metrics. They're looking at
Oh, for
views, they're
sure.
looking at subscribers, and they're not looking at the impact. They're not looking at the data because the views and the subscribers, they tell you the least and they discourage you the most.
Yeah,
Because if you don't see the number that you think is good, you're going to be disappointed. But it's also the fact that, like, hey, if you have even just 50 viewers on your video or 100 viewers, think about being in a room with 50 people or a room of 100 people. That's a
yeah,
lot of people to be talking to.
absolutely. I love that mindset there. To share my own story a little bit, I started a YouTube channel and podcast back in like 2022 and it flopped, man. I did 3 videos. I was recording them on a crappy webcam, like it just wasn't good, and then I got discouraged and I wasn't proud of the work, so I stopped. Just kind of quit. And I came back to it a year or so later. I did a few more videos. Again, quality wasn't great. I think that time I was filming it on my phone. Um, so I quit again. And last year, 2025, I made the commitment. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do it right. I had, some more money from business success and stuff like that. So I started just investing in it, bought better cameras, started investing in lighting, set up, my studio a little bit better. Um, and I started podcasting. And the thing was, at this point, man, it's my third attempt going in on it. I'm getting, at the time I started 20 to 50 views per video type thing.
Mhm.
But I started also clipping, putting it onto short form. And so I was doing at least one long form a week. I was doing the shorts. I was posting them across all the social media platforms. And I started getting people that reached out to me. Actually, last summer, so June, girl that I went to high school with reaches out and she goes, "Hey, I'm a small business owner now. Every time I open my phone, I see your content on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. You're everywhere that I'm at. I know you need to help me. Um, can you coach me?" And I'm like, "Huh? Yeah, let's hop on a sales call." She's like, "Ah, dude, I don't need a sales call. I'll just pay you. What do you need? Like, but coach me."
Mhm.
And a couple weeks later, I get another message. Guy from Europe, dude was essentially referred to me by another friend. And he's like, "Hey man, I know you're in ecom. I'm in ecom. I see your content. Like, can you coach me? Can you help me?" I'm like, "Okay." It's weird. Like less than a month apart, I got two people reaching out. They're talking about seeing my content. A couple weeks go by, I get a third person. I'm like, "Dude, what is going on?" Like, I'm not getting that many views. Like all these posts are sub 100 views. I mean, on the videos. But what was happening when I reverse engineered it was the short form content was driving views back to the long form content. The long form content showed how I thought, how I solved problems, how I helped other people. That built a lot of trust, and people would reach out to me. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I signed 3 clients over the course of 2 months, all from just doing the long form content, clipping it, posting it, being omnipresent as best I could, and doing it consistently. Now, it took me 6 months to get to that point. Again, of literally every week posting, every day, daily clipping type stuff. But it wasn't like the views weren't impressive. No one would have looked at that and said, "Dude, your podcast is a success." Nobody would have said that. Like, and that was, I mean, views on YouTube, Spotify, everything, less than a couple hundred. But what makes it a success then was it was growing my business. I was getting
Mhm.
clients from it all of a sudden. Now, what's more important? Is it more important to get 80,000 views or $80,000? And I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter about the views. Views were the wrong metric. They were always the wrong metric.
Yeah. It's trust.
Absolutely.
It's
People
giving value.
people talk about us being in a trust recession now, but I think recognizing that trust is the de facto currency and just going all in on how you build it, be very authentic in how you solve problems and how you help other people, how you have conversations. That's what resonates with people, man.
Yeah. So that's the other thing that I was gonna say is like don't look at the views. Don't look at the subscribers. Look at the impact that you're making. Look at the trust that you're
Absolutely.
building. Look at the community that you're building and the people that you're helping. So
So that's something that I would highlight too is the community aspect. Um, when you make content and it's consistent, right, on theme, like I teach 5 content pillars. So you should have like 5 subjects essentially. All of your content falls within one of those 5 subjects. The beauty of that is you get people who are interested in you and your content and those subjects. And then when you have a lot of people that are interested in those, you should be building a community where they can interact with each other, where they can support each other. Like I'm a big believer in the mastermind concepts. So we get a mastermind community going. And then we do events together. Everyone comes in. Like last January we did a mastermind day, and then we like rented a suite at a jazz game, and like all of us go and we just hang out for a day. We help each other grow, and then we go hang out in the evening and have dinner and watch a basketball game and all this stuff. Ton of fun. But people care more about the experience and the network and the community than they do about the individual lessons or the pieces of content that I put out. So when you start to have that consistency, build the community 100%.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm curious, are you
You'll
building
get
any
so much
community
more
right now?
fulfillment. Yeah, I am. I'm building a school community that's like,
Right on.
have you heard of school?
Yep, I'm on school.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So same thing, just focused on helping military members with money. Yeah.
Right on. Any other pro tips you would give to somebody getting started on YouTube? Because I'm a big believer everyone should be getting on YouTube. If you own a business, if you're an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
you run a sales team, get on YouTube. Just get on YouTube. Build the trust.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I would tell myself, my younger self, is do like invest back into the business as much as you can,
Mhm.
like how you did with your e-commerce business, where you worked for free for 2 years before you took a paycheck. I would
Yeah,
have told my younger self to do the same thing and invest every single dollar that I had in my savings into my team, because if I had that team in the beginning, I could have done so much more content. I could have helped so much more people, and I could have grown so much faster too.
absolutely. Okay, so we talked about you, your journey a little bit. We've talked about what you specialize in, your business a little bit. Let's talk about strategy moving forward. Like I said at the start of the show, the theory here is that we're helping other people get started or overcome their obstacles too.
Mhm.
So, what's working right now to help Joey grow?
What's helping right now? Man, Fable just came back.
Oh, yeah, I got that notice yesterday.
Yeah, Fable is really, really strong. So AI tools, you got to use AI tools. If you're not using them, then
Can I
you are
ask, how do you
losing out.
recommend using them?
If you're going to be using it for YouTube, then there are so many different systems that you can create when it comes to creating good video ideas,
Mhm.
scripting out the YouTube videos, creating good thumbnails, and creating. So with each one, right? Like we can get super tactical about it. For example, with YouTube script writing, I have a skill on Claude that knows everything about me, knows my life story,
Mhm.
all of my biggest life lessons, and I have what's called a story bank. It's a Google Doc of all of the stories, and I have all of that just written into a Google Doc. I plug that into the Claude skill, into the AI, and it knows all of that so it can bring up those stories that I would forget into my YouTube videos.
Very good.
And that makes the process so much easier when I have basically like Tony Stark, like Jarvis, like an AI assistant, right? Just
Yeah.
telling me like, "Hey, don't forget to talk about this when you're making your video."
I like that you're putting the emphasis on the stories too. Stories are what sells, man. Everything is a hook story and an offer. So tell the story. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll give an AI example too, just for the listeners. So I come into the studio, I record 30 advertisements, right, for my mastermind that's upcoming. Shameless self promotion, Mission Ready Mastermind, July 23rd and 24th at Club Paddock in American Fork, Utah. Be there or be square. Anyways, so I come in, I film advertisements for that. Now, each of the ads has its script, right? We talk about those 5 content buckets. So they're all leadership related, team building related, organizational scaling, that kind of stuff. Then we take those, take them back to the AI. I give the AI the scripts, I give them the videos. I have it tailor 5 different, um, 5 different attack angles, is what I call them. But on the actual like primary text and headlines that are going to be paired with those. Now that's important because after the it would have been July 2025, Meta released the Andromeda update. The Andromeda update put a lot more emphasis on creative variation when it came to advertising. They want as many variance as possible so that they can find the best angles. And then their AI can also feed off that too. So I take those 30 ads. Now each of those 30 ads gets five new again, attack angles for primary text and headline. That creates five different variations of each of those. Now I've got, 150 ads like instantly. And then we can obviously play with it a little bit more and just tailor them up, pick the winners, launch them, split test them for a couple bucks a day, find the ones that are getting the best traction, the clicks, whatever like that, scale those. So the advertising game shifted immensely just because of the creative volume that could be put out rapidly. And then in addition to the um, attack angle variation, it can also take the video and take the um, themes from the scripts and make static images and stuff like that for them. So now those 150 ads are your 250 ads, and it just boom, 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 boom. Things that would have taken me weeks to accomplish 2 years ago, I can do in an afternoon now. So
Yeah.
the beauty of AI for me now is it will speed up whatever you're doing. So if you have a good system in place, it makes that system faster. If you're making money faster. If you're losing money faster. It's an accelerator in my opinion.
Yeah. Very true. There's so much potential with AI, and people need to be using it for their business. And yeah, like everything with the marketing, like paid media, that's awesome. And YouTube not only is a great platform to generate leads off of not needing that many views, but it also reduces the cost of your ads over time, because the people that see your content organically
Absolutely.
and they see that you give them value, they are they're building that trust with you, and so they only need to see your ad once or twice before they actually click on the ad and they go forward, compared to a different business owner who does
Hmm.
no YouTube content, no organic content, and they're just pushing out ads. People don't know who they are, and so they're going to be continuously seeing their ads before somebody eventually clicks.
Absolutely. I've got a whole module on this in my school community, actually. The organic and the paid feed each other. And they're, I think,
Yeah,
necessary to a holistic strategy, right? Like you said, they
100%.
warm each other up. They warm each other up and they just make everything else work better. So
Yeah.
cover all the bases. I love that. Okay. I know you've got a hard stop here in a few minutes. Is there any last piece of advice that you would give the audience or the listeners?
Um, Man, I don't know. I think it's for people out there who want to be business owners or succeed. I think having the mentality of becoming the 1% of the 1% is a good mentality to have. Whatever you do, if you are like I come from military background, so that's
Mhm.
already 1%. And then I asked myself, how can I be the 1% of the military? And I knew that I could do that through running journeys, through my Ironman training, through
Mhm.
insane physical challenges that I've done out throughout the years. And it's given me so much confidence in everything else that I do, because those things were so hard physically and mentally. They made everyday business seem easy, because business
Absolutely.
is not easy. Business, you're going to be dealing with a roller coaster of emotions. And on top of your business, family stuff gets in the way, personal issues get in the way, relationship issues get in the way. But if you can conquer your mind on the inside and you have what I like to call a cookie jar, I got this from David Goggins' book, but you have a cookie jar of all of the things that you've accomplished in the past that
Mhm.
are hard, you can rely on those things to tell yourself, hey, whatever I'm going through right now, whether it's hard or not, I've done things that are even harder. And so I know that I'm capable of doing it.
I love what you're touching on here because this is a theme that I've tried to share throughout my my business journey. I often say, if you want to be in the top 1%, you do top 1% things. And that's not exclusive to any one avenue, right? Military, less than 1% of the population joins the military. Running half marathons or marathons, less than 1% run those. Bench pressing 315, that's less than 1% of lifters run that. And I mean, that's even a small fraction to begin with. So like there's all of these physical goals that I use in a very similar method to you, where it's like, I'm going to chase this, I'm going to achieve this, and it makes everything else easier. I noticed, I had friends that would ask me why I was running half marathons. Because when I left active duty, I swore and I was adamant about it. I was never running more than 2 miles ever again. Just wasn't going to do it. Obviously, that stopped being true. I started getting into marathons and like stuff like that. But the reason I got into it was because it was a discipline piece for me. If I could do that, everything else, the rest of my day was easy. If I got up in the morning and I ran 10 miles, everything else, the rest of the day was on easy mode because I'd already done the hard thing. So I love the mindset that you're sharing here with this, because I think that it's a crucial skill to develop if you want to be successful long term. Master control of your body to master your mind.
Mhm. Dan
Absolutely
Martell says
beautiful.
it really well. He says, "Savage the body, tame the mind."
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay, Joey, for anybody who's listening, where can they find you? How can they follow you? How can they join your school community? Give us all the plugs.
Oh, yeah. So you can find me anywhere if you just search up my name, Joey Nguyen. My school community is called Bullet Finance, so it's finance for people who like shooting bullets. No, no, I don't know.
I
I
like
just thought it
shooting
was a cool
bullets
name.
and I like finances. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. No, thanks for doing this, and thanks for having me.
Dude, I really appreciate you coming on. To be honest, man, I am very much admiring you, the tenacity of your journey. You're doing it at a young age. It's honestly inspirational, and I hope more people see you, find you, learn from you, because what you're doing is making a difference. And again,
Thank you,
time will make it compound. So keep it up, my
thank
brother.
you. Yeah, no, thank you. You're an inspiration for me too. I'm seeing all of the cool cars that you have, and I need to get to your level one day.
Dude, cars is a whole nother podcast episode we could jump into. Yeah, they help with everything, in my opinion. Help you scale, help you get into the right bigger rooms, networks, more room for impact. So get a car. Cars are cool.
Okay.
Okay, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.